All right, welcome. So this video is the power of meditation, practicing presence. So in this video, I'm going to teach you guys why the present moment is so important, why learning to be more present is so important, and then how you can actually train your ability to be present and more aware. So the first section is the gift of the present moment. All right, why we all need to be present, right? Presence is so important for us as human beings because of the fact that we live in a distracted world, right? So we live in a world that is full of hyper-stimulating distractions meant to pull us away from the present moment, meant to pull us away from our current experience, and not to get into the conspiracy side of it. The fact that we're being pulled away from our current experience is damning to our ability to learn, to grow, and to achieve our specific goals. As well as the fact that anytime we experience pain, anytime we experience difficulty, stress, anxiety, these things aren't negative, right? They create negative byproducts when ignored, when not dealt with properly. But negative emotions in and of themselves are not a bad thing, right? And so it's very important that we live in this moment to experience them as they come up in order to be able to properly handle, process, and redistribute those emotions. So the present moment is very important. Being pulled away from the present moment can be absolutely detrimental to our ability to progress towards our goals, to our ability to process negative emotions, to our ability to enjoy and experience positive ones, and to our ability to be able to fully enjoy and be fully stimulated by the moment, by our actual current experience. So the present moment is a true gift, right? It is truly a gift to be present, to be in this moment in time, to be able to experience this single point in time. And, because it's not perfect in our human eyes, in our human mind, we reject it. We want to reject it. We want to push it away and try to live some form of perfect reality, some form of perfect alternative. That just isn't realistic. In actuality, we can't reject the present moment. Our current experience is everything that we have, right? We only truly have this moment. We do not have this perceived future that we keep in our minds. We do not have the memorized past. We just have the present moment. We only have this moment, this experience right now. And so to reject that is really a detriment to your ability to experience reality, to your ability to enjoy the things that you want to go out and do and achieve, to your ability to go and work towards and achieve goals, right? You need to be able to be fully present for all of these different things. And so the present moment is a true gift. All of the negatives and all of the positives we experience within the present moment are specifically designed, specifically crafted so that we can experience the exact challenge that we need to experience now in order to grow in the exact way that we need to grow and learn and evolve. So how do we train/practice presence, right? What do we actually do to practice or train our ability to be more present? Because everybody understands this idea that we want to be more present, right? But how do we actually train ourselves to be able to be more present, to stay present, to consistently be in this moment at this time? And so the way we do that is through meditation. Meditation is a practice of consistently training your ability to shut off the mind and stop it from pulling your attention away and distracting your attention and fixating your attention, focusing your attention into this specific moment. And the reason it trains your ability to stay present is because meditation leaves you with only the mind. The mind is what is typically distracting us. If we are left with only the mind, we are experiencing all of these different things associated with distraction from ego, right? And so because we are directly experiencing our ego, we are now training our ability to identify this ego, identify being stuck in thoughts, and separate it from the experience of being present, being in the moment. And so therefore we can identify the difference between the two and train our ability to identify when we become distracted and then recenter our focus back to the present moment. And by training this skill consistently over a long period of time, we lead ourselves to being more aware of ourselves, of our thought patterns, of our experience, and therefore we are able to also utilize the skill of directing our attention, directing our awareness to this moment, this present moment, instead of becoming distracted in thoughts. So that is how we train presence, is through meditation. But how do we meditate the right way? How do we actually go and meditate the correct way? Specifically when it comes to training focus and training attention and awareness within the present moment, the most important type of meditation is the basic observing the breath meditation. A lot of people already know about this type of meditation. It's very effective for training our ability to turn off the mind, turn off thoughts, and allow ourselves to not be completely drowned out by those thoughts. So this type of meditation is the most powerful when it comes to training our ability to be present, training our ability to turn off the mind and redirect our attention to what we're doing right now. And so therefore, it's the best one for training and developing presence. But how do we meditate in such a way that allows us to train and develop our ability to be present? So when we're meditating, right, the idea is we focus our attention onto the breath. We keep our attention on the breath, and we don't allow ourselves to become stuck in our minds, become stuck in thoughts, and become lost in that world. We stay present, we stay focused on the flow of the breath. Then what happens is typically we become distracted by our mind. We start thinking, we start looking around, different things happen that allow us to become distracted. Our attention is now directed towards something else. The key here is learning the skill of identifying that and then redirecting our attention back to the thing that we're doing right now. And so by doing this consistently over a long period of time, you will train yourself to become more present and to bring more presence, more awareness into this moment, and therefore maintain it more consistently. So developing focus, awareness, and internal regulation. So these three things are three more of the most important benefits as far as meditation goes, right? So developing focus, our ability to focus our attention, center our attention, and keep it there for long periods of time is going to be a very key skill in a lot of different things, whether that's becoming successful in a specific goal, or if you just have a job, if you have school. All of these things require focus. If focus is easy for you, then work is pretty easy, right? No matter what you're doing, work can be very, very easy, very simple if you can maintain focus. So by practicing meditation, you will develop your ability to focus and stay focused for longer periods of time. The next thing is awareness, right? Increased awareness allows us to be more acutely aware of the world around us and the different things that come up in our reality, as well as awareness of ourselves and our internal world, right? Awareness of our thought patterns, our emotional states, feelings, and the flow of these things and how they change over time in response to different stimuli outside, right? So by increasing our awareness, we have the ability to identify different things that may cause emotional reactions for us, and therefore we can actually regulate those emotional reactions relative to the fact that we can now observe the cause of them, right? So that's one small skill that we've now gained because of increased awareness. Another thing is that by increasing our awareness, if you think about it from the animal brain perspective or from a primal perspective, if you're out with your girl, and for most men, you would know that if your girl is comfortable with you, she doesn't give a fuck. She's not looking around. She's not paying attention to anything. For you, as the masculine, as the man, you're typically the one who is acutely aware of everything around you, right? A lot of guys can relate to the idea of just whenever you're walking through a parking lot, right? You know where most people around you relative to where you are and where your girl are in the parking lot, right? You're aware of these things. To increase your awareness is to increase your skill and your ability to pick up on outside threats, right? And that's just one example. Outside threats, but also outside positive things, right? So you can pay more attention to positive things that may come up. You may be more acutely aware of people in your environment, their energies. You might be more aware of different things around you. So if you're going out and you're walking around, you may be more able to pick up on, let's say, a restaurant you pass by that looks cool. Having increased awareness allows you to take in more of your experience, more of your current reality, and therefore your experience does become more stimulating and more satisfying as a result. And the last thing is internal regulation. So by learning internal regulation through meditation, we can use this and apply it through different areas of our lives. One example is with work. So if you're working for longer periods of time, or you're sustaining high levels of effort for long periods of time, a lot of times your nervous system can start to get dysregulated. You can start to feel a little bit of tension. You can start to feel a little bit, some people call it fried, right? Your brain becomes fried. And that's just because you're expending so much energy for such a long period of time that your nervous system does start to burn out. And so one way that we can fix this is through internal regulation, which is the ability to become aware of an off-center state within our body. So if our nervous system is a little bit fried out, we can become aware of this, and we can regulate the nervous system by increasing the level of energy within the nervous system or decreasing the level of energy in the nervous system. And we can do so through different methods like controlling the breath, and just awareness in general allows us to move energy. So through meditation, by learning to regulate our mind and our mental patterns, we also learn to regulate different emotional states, different nervous system patterns, and just the condition of our body in general. And so therefore, internal regulation is the process of keeping our internal aligned with what we're trying to do externally, and keeping it at a calm state, while also keeping it at an active enough state to sustain the effort in the workflow. Another example of this is if you become emotional, if something triggers you emotionally, instead of suppressing the emotion, we can use internal regulation to downregulate the emotional state for now in order to navigate the situation more clearly, and then we can address the emotion later on. So practicing presence in daily life. The important part of this whole idea is that we build a skill that we can utilize in our daily life, right? So practicing presence in daily life, practicing presence in basic activities like driving, walking, work, even things like reading, exercising. A lot of people exercise with music and distract themselves. This completely defeats the purpose, right? So being completely present within this moment, within every single activity that we do day to day. So everything we do, it should be the only thing we're focused on doing at that specific time. And we become fully present and fully fixated within this moment in doing that specific thing. And what this allows us to do is it removes a lot of stress associated with different things. Like if we are constantly straining and stressing about everything we have to get done versus just being present with the exact task that we're doing right now. This is an example of how to regulate it, right? So when we notice that we're stressed about all the things we have to do later today, recenter your attention to just what you're doing now and finish that completely before you move on to thinking about the next thing. Another example is when you're walking, for example, or when you are working, not allowing yourself to become distracted, not allowing yourself to become mechanical and unconscious with it, staying present, staying aware, and just focusing on actively working through the thing that you're doing. These are all examples, but the main point with this section is just to make sure that you're consistently practicing presence with everything you do and training it through meditation, but not only being present within meditation, right? Presence is something we want to sustain throughout every part of our day, not just the meditation. Think about the meditation as a practice or a training for it, and the rest of your day is the actual application of that skill. So that is all I have for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a comment down below and let me know anything you guys may have learned. If you want to see more content like this, you can go ahead and subscribe or leave a like. And I also have a TikTok and Instagram now. So those two will be linked in the description below if you want to go check out my short form content. But that is all I have for this video, and I hope you guys did enjoy. I'm out of here. Peace.